Hello, my friends. A new novel, a new world. Our new story is The Great Gatsby, so let's travel to our new world in just a few minutes.
In 1925, a slim novel was published, one that made little impact at the time, and no one expected it would later become one of the greatest novels in the history of American literature. That novel was The Great Gatsby by American author F. Scott Fitzgerald, a mirror to the roaring 1920s and the voice of the American dream as it cracks beneath the weight of reality. The novel tells the story of Jay Gatsby, a mysterious man who amassed immense wealth, not merely to live in luxury, but to win back the heart of a woman he once loved. But behind the lights, the parties, and the riches, there is emptiness. There is a grand deception called illusion. Despite its modest beginnings, The Great Gatsby has become one of the most widely read and influential novels today. Over 500,000 copies sold each year, more than 25 million copies sold worldwide. Taught in thousands of schools and universities, ranked among the top 100 novels of the 20th century. It's not just a love story, it's an American myth about ambition, deception, and the pursuit of something that can never truly be grasped. The Great Gatsby, the novel that never died, because it tells of a dream that still haunts us all. 1. The Storyteller, the narrator from the West. In the spring of 1922, a young man named Nick Carraway moves from the Midwest to New York in search of fortune in the world of finance and the stock market. He rents a modest house in West Egg, a fictional town on Long Island opposite East Egg, home to the old money elite. Nick isn't rich himself, but he's close to that world, an observant, reflective narrator. From the beginning, Nick tells us something important about himself. I'm inclined to reserve all judgments, a habit that has opened up many curious natures to me. 2. The Great Gatsby, the enigmatic man. Behind the Golden Gate across the bay, on the other side of Long Island, stands a dazzling mansion like something out of a fairy tale. Its white pillars stretch toward the sky, and each night its lights blaze like an eternal festival. This is where Jay Gatsby lives, a name on everyone's lips, though no one knows his face. A man shrouded in mystery, he throws legendary parties to which no one is invited, yet everyone comes. People talk about him like a legend. They say he's the son of a German prince. No, he was a war hero who killed a man. Rumor has it he's a bootlegger. But no one knows the truth, and no one seems to care. What matters is the alcohol, the music, the laughter, and the garden that never sleeps. To Nick, Gatsby, his neighbor, seems like the lead actor in a vast stage play, rarely seen. One summer night, Nick receives a surprising invitation, written in elegant script, to attend one of Gatsby's parties. That alone astonishes him. No one ever gets direct invitations from Gatsby. At the party, amid the glittering decorations, flowing jazz, and elite laughter, Nick searches for his host until he finds himself at a table with a well-dressed young man, calm-eyed, soft-voiced. After a few words, the man reveals, "I'm Gatsby." He isn't what Nick expected, not loud or boastful. He's quiet, impeccably polite, but there's something in his eyes, a sorrow, a longing, as if he's waiting for something that never comes. Over time, Nick comes to see that everything in Gatsby's life, the mansion, the parties, the extravagance, is just a facade, a thin shell covering one heart pulsing with hope. A man who built an entire world, not to live in it, but for someone else to see it. 3. The Old Love, Daisy, the Green Light, and a Memory That Won't Die. It wasn't money, fame, or the West Egg mansion that Gatsby truly sought. He did it all for one woman, Daisy Fay, the Southern belle with golden hair and a laugh that, to him, lit up the world. They had met years before when he was a young army officer, poor but ambitious. Daisy loved his youth and charm, but he had no wealth to propose. When he went off to war, she married someone from her class, Tom Buchanan, heir to old money, arrogant and possessive. But Gatsby never forgot her. In fact, he lived every moment striving to win her back. He returned from the war, began his mad quest to amass wealth through shadowy means, and then bought a mansion directly across the bay from Daisy's home. Every party he threw, every light he lit, was a calculated hope that Daisy might appear among the guests. The parties weren't for joy, they were for waiting. One night, Nick sees something strange. Gatsby standing in the dark, arm outstretched toward a faint green light across the water. The light at the end of Daisy's dock. A tiny light barely visible, yet to Gatsby, it was everything. A symbol. The green light wasn't just a light. It was the future he dreamed of. The moment Daisy would return and everything would begin again. To Gatsby, the past wasn't past. It was something to be reclaimed, restored, made better. He once told Nick with unwavering belief, "Of course you can repeat the past." "You can't." "Why, yes, you can. I'm doing it now." At that moment, Gatsby isn't a rich man. He's a child at the edge of an old dream, reaching out with all his passion, a man who tied his heart to a distant light, even if it led him to ruin. The long-awaited meeting. When the past comes to life, Gatsby asks Nick to arrange a meeting with Daisy. They meet at Nick's house, in a moment thick with emotion and tension. For the first time in years, eyes meet, and old memories stir. Tears fall. Old dreams rise from the ashes. Gatsby becomes convinced that the past love can not only be recovered but surpassed. He insists, "You can repeat the past." Nick replies, surprised, "You can't." But Gatsby insists, "Of course you can." 5. Collapse, confrontation, betrayal, and the accident tensions reach a boiling point on a sweltering New York afternoon. Tom, sensing the threat Gatsby poses to his marriage, suggests they all go into the city. They gather at the Plaza Hotel, sweating with heat and anxiety. There, the past and present collide. Gatsby, burning with passion, insists that Daisy never loved Tom and that their marriage was a mistake that can be undone. "She doesn't love you. She never did. She only ever loved me." But Tom laughs, confident, still in control, and begins to expose Gatsby's secrets. He's not from old money, and he earned his fortune through bootlegging and crime. The words strike like hammers, shattering Gatsby's carefully crafted image in front of Daisy. All eyes turn to Daisy. Everyone waits for her to choose. She tries to speak, lips trembling, then says, "I loved you, Gatsby, but I also loved Tom once." With those words, everything crumbles. It's as if she stabbed Gatsby's very heart. He cannot believe that her memory wasn't purely his, that her love was not a mirror of his own. They leave in silence. On the way back, Daisy, now shaken and terrified, drives Gatsby's yellow car. In a tragic twist, Myrtle Wilson, distraught after a fight with her husband George, runs into the road. She mistakes the car for Tom's, her secret lover, and rushes toward it. The car doesn't stop. Myrtle is struck and killed. That night, Gatsby tells Nick quietly, Daisy was driving. But he takes the blame. His life, after all, was always a sacrifice for her. He waits outside her house, watching for a light in the window, hoping she'll call or come out. But Daisy doesn't call. She doesn't open the window. She retreats into the comfort of her life with Tom. 6. The tragic end, death of the dream. The next day, Gatsby waits for a sign from Daisy, anything, but nothing comes. He spends the night awake in his garden, gazing at the green light on her dock, his symbol of hope, of love, of the dream that pulled him from poverty and lifted him into illusion. Nick visits him in the morning and finds him pale, silent, but still clinging to his impossible love. Gatsby says, "Nothing's happened yet. She just needs time. She'll come." But reality has already begun to close in. Elsewhere, George Wilson, Myrtle's grieving husband, has been fed misleading rumors by Tom, pointing to Gatsby as the owner of the car. He doesn't know the truth, only that someone must be held accountable for the ruin of his life. In the choking heat of a summer afternoon, Wilson finds Gatsby alone beside his pool, as if finally surrendering to the water, to the drowned dreams. In a single, terrible moment, Wilson shoots him, then himself. It was over. Gatsby died surrounded by the luxury that couldn't save him. He died still dreaming, still waiting. Daisy never called. She didn't come to the funeral. Nick, devastated, recounts, "No one came. Not the people who had once filled his mansion with laughter and champagne, not one. Only Nick, a few servants, and one man from the distant past, Gatsby's father. A simple man carrying a notebook he found in his son's room, where the young James Gats had once written a strict schedule. Wake early, study, be clean, set goals. As if Gatsby was never anything more than a poor boy trying to become a hero, and ended up dead in the pool of a dream that never came true. 7. Nick's Reflections, The End of the American Dream. After everything, with Gatsby's body lying in the silence of his empty mansion, Nick sees the truth. The glamorous world that lured Gatsby, elevated him, and then destroyed him, was hollow. No one truly loved Gatsby. Daisy hid behind the curtains of her wealth. Tom went back to his life as if nothing had happened. Even the guests who drank his champagne didn't come to say goodbye. Nick tries to arrange the funeral, writing letters, waiting in the rain. But no one comes. Only Gatsby's elderly father appears, carrying a photo of his son from the days of poverty, telling Nick about young Jimmy, who woke up early to study and believed he could become someone great. In that moment, Nick realizes the bitter truth. Gatsby wasn't great because he was rich. He was great because he believed until the very end in his dream. He tried to seize the past, to revive a lost moment of love, to embody what Americans call a dream. But he learned too late that the dream was false, that marble mansions can be built on foundations of lies. Nick returns to the Midwest, forever changed. He looks back at the city from afar, at its lights, and utters the novel's famous final lines. Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgastic future that year by year recedes before us. It eluded us then, but that's no matter. Tomorrow we will run faster, stretch out our arms farther. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Symbolic messages in the novel. Gatsby symbolizes the American dream, ambition, persistence, and eventual downfall. Daisy represents the illusion of beauty and wealth, hollow inside. The green light at the end of Daisy's dock symbolizes unattainable hope. The parties represent superficial opulence and the absence of sincerity. Nick is the moral compass, the one who sees the truth behind the masks.